mid-funeral. Russian was a cocktail of pain and just the faintest whiff of satisfaction. Jaw tightened. He had warned Sarah, had begged her actually. Don't tell them. Don't let them get involved. Just keep it private. Sarah, still believing in decency, had sent a courtesy email to HOA explaining her mother's dying wish. She'd asked for a one-time exception. Backyard funeral, immediate family, quiet, respectful. They'd said yes. A conditional, time-limited, soil operation mandated yes. The agreement was 3 pages long. It read every line. No permanent structures, no amplified sound. The ceremony must be concluded within 45 minutes. All guests must remain off the lawn. No plane, no music, no chairs. It wasn't a yes. It was a warning wrapped in paperwork. And now Elaine was here, in the middle of the damn funeral. Looking for a reason. Feel Sarah's fingers dig into his coat as she spotted her. He turned slightly, shielding her from Elaine's view as best he could. It was too late. Elaine had locked eyes with them like a heat. Didn't need her to speak to know what she was thinking. Violated one of them. Maybe the mourners had stepped too far into the flower bed. Maybe the casket wasn't full as required. Maybe the priest's voice had been carried too far into the street. Maybe, more likely, it didn't matter. Elaine hadn't come to observe. She had come to enforce. The person who gets off on control. The committee who counts trash cans on Tuesdays and calls them community standards. She started walking toward them. Each step slow, crunching wet leaves and soft. Hand closed into a fist at his side. Every muscle in his face screaming, not now, not here. But in his gut, he knew. She wasn't going to stop. Elaine didn't pause at the edge of the funeral. She didn't so much as glance at the casket. Tear-streaked face of her daughter saying goodbye to her mother. She walked through the warren. That's her path. Utterly out of place. Rain misted her hair and jacket. Patient, all eyes turned toward her. She moved like someone on a mission. Like someone who believed she had the absolute right to be there. And clutched in her left hand was her signature weapon, a plaque board, fat, laminated regulations and printouts, Thorpe organized his paper. I gave you 45 minutes, she said, voice flat, unruffled. As if judging heads, clocking infractions. It's now been 53 violation of temporary enjoyment. It didn't sound real, not against the backdrop of glowing heads and fresh earth. There he stood gone. A rounding tongue. That's trembling at her side. Parted mid-verse. Violence. Neighbors, co-worker, family, shifted awkwardly, ensuring this was a joke or a breakdown of reality. Stepped forward instinctively, blocking Elaine's line of sight. Burying her mother, that blow controlled, but was always sure of her strength. You've made your point. Funeral. He didn't blink. Her gaze drifted down to Sarah's midsection, meeting with disinterest, then right back into Adam's eyes. The agreement was clear, she said, as if reading from the script. Very soiled. Wooden fixtures or structures, that includes coffin. Maybe she said it, coffins, as if it was yours. Vessel was. That was true. He asked, cut through mention, this kindly process in which she was living. Neighbors, from down below, shocked, big up. Mother shook his head in disbelief, muttering, this can't be real. Name was evil. Voice didn't waver. Ship didn't shift. If the coffin remains in the ground, she continued calmly. In violation of the HOA, that's 1, 2, 3. Special limits. That's those for HOA first protection. He paused. That includes a few seconds from needing to fully land. spare me. Don't even think about it. Pain had already twisted her arm, gestured behind her with an open palm, like a conductor cueing the next movement in a symphony. No, here. Behind the fence, two men stepped forward in neon green landscaping vests. They looked uncomfortable, confused even, but they were carrying work gloves and with dull expressions of guys who've been paid by the job, not the hour. Voice rose, desperate and incredulous. Hey, hey, don't touch that. Step away. We were just told to lift it. Back off, Alex bent. It was too late. One of them had already gripped the side of the casket. The other reached for the opposite end. Together they heaved, and the casket rose just a foot. Just enough for the horror of it to sink in. Sarah let out a strangled sound. Half scream. Face twisted in something too deep for words. Shock, betrayal, pain, and then hands flew to her stomach. One spun around and catch her as she folded at the knees. She didn't fall gracefully. She crumbled, like a building being demolished from the inside. Her knees buckled, whole body tense, and she let out a piercing cry that filled every person in place. Then blood. It darkened the hem of her dress in seconds. Ink and water. One dropped to the ground with her, cradling her head, panic flooding his chest like ice. Era, stay with me. Look at me. Breathe. People screamed. He dropped his Bible. A song called
Jack had been abducted by a group of